Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm introducing scale exercise 34 for us to play on our low and high D whistles. Yes, scale exercise 34. That seems like quite a few. Um, at times, these scale exercises can feel like just random note runs or random note jumps, but most of the scale exercises I introduce are I'll pull a phrase that could be a bit of a challenge out of a tune. And then I'll take that phrase and I'll put it low in the key of D and I'll walk up the whistle for us and sometimes walk back down. And then I often replicate that in the key of G. That's first, D is two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, and the key of G is F sharp and C natural, whatever your best fingering is for C natural on your whistle. And so this scale exercise, number 34, is actually, I started off with a phrasing I found in the Hornpipe Madame Bonaparte. I was thinking of introducing it today, but I thought, no, we need to work on that phrasing first. I need a scale exercise that was crafted off of a phrase in the B part of Madame Bonaparte. So that's why this scale exercise exists. It exists as all scale exercises exist to help us enhance, refine, and work on our dexterity, our speed, our ornamentation, just to take a piece out of a tune, spread it across the scale, and then that way you can really refine your skills without worrying about the rest of a song. Which is why I've said before, you can make your own. Anyway, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk us through the exercise in D, and I'm going to walk us through the exercise in G, and then we're going to talk about different ways you could use this exercise very briefly. And for the exercise, I'm using the Chieftain V5 non-tunable version. There are times when there are often wonderful whistles out there that come in tunable, and I honestly prefer a tunable whistle because you never know when you're going to be playing with somebody else and you want to be able to refine your tuning. Well, there are often also times when you simply want to have a whistle that you could play and you don't need it to adjust the tuning on it because you're just going to play it by yourself. And so a non-tunable whistle is great. In the situation of the Chieftain, the non-tunable Chieftains are a good bit less expensive than the tunable. So if you're someone who doesn't need a tunable version, buy a non-tunable version. I'll put a link as to where you could get a Chieftain, a couple of links in the notes to this video. I personally, like I said, prefer to buy tunables whenever possible, but here it is, a non-tunable. I think it's also just as brilliant to have, just not maybe as flexible. So look for links in the notes. I'll also put a link at the top of the notes to the page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs for this exercise. But I'm going to stand and play through it slowly so that you could see my hands and get to know the exercise. So here is the exercise in D. And the way the exercise goes is it starts off on the F sharp, A, D, A, F sharp, A, D, A. Then take that up one note, G, B, E, B, G, B, E, B. That sounds pretty easy, right? Haha, throw it into a hornpipe rhythm and then start playing at the speed. That's why I pulled this out and crafted a scale exercise for us. So let me walk us slowly through the exercise in D. Yes, I did add the little fun descent because it gives a little bit of the feel of what somebody might do in a hornpipe. So that's helpful. Now, as you're learning to play this at a faster pace, if your breath pressure permits, when you're getting to the D's, the jumps with the D's, you can, if fingering and pulling off that index finger is a challenge, you can leave it down and just increase your breath pressure. And that works better on some whistles than others. Just a side note, maybe a helpful hint. So here is the same exercise in the key of G, and I'm starting on the B. So this time, you're going to go B, D, G, B, D, B, G, B, and then walk it up. But you're going to then play the C natural. Here's the exercise in G. All right. It's a fun exercise. It's a challenging exercise. That makes it an important exercise. I should coin that phrase. Anyway, let's talk about different ways you could use this exercise. So the first, and I think most important thing to do, is to just play it, play it, play it. Play it as fast as you can. Don't play it as you can. So, you know, if you can play it, if you're only playing it, try and get some good tone going. But if you're wanting to try and really pick up the pace, you know, and if you need to pause a little, get in there, yeah, do that. But this is also an opportunity to try and get that hornpipe rhythm into a note jump. That's why in playing it a little faster, you're going to feel it better. And emphasize some of those beats. So a good opportunity to work on dexterity, on pace, but it's also then a good opportunity for you to start doing some like ornamentation on these jumps. These are note jumps that are fine in and of themselves, but you know, this is Irish music. We ornament stuff, right? And so start working on some different ornamentation ideas. Think through it. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about listening to people playing Madame Bonaparte. But so think through what would work. Too much ornamentation clouds the rhythm. You want that to dominate. But you could add some little, perfect cut and tap opportunities. And I'd leave some of them alone. And you could also add a little run in. But whatever you want to do with that, I think it's important to experiment with some of that. Definitely use this to work on pace as well. I think sometimes for me, I like ornamenting the scale exercises, but so much about ornamentation for me is tune dependent and the feel of a tune. So I have a little bit of a harder time throwing ornamentation into scale exercises. Small confession there. Yes, I know. I need to, Scott, work on that. I need to. But, so for me, the way I use scale exercises is primarily dexterity, pace, and then I will ornament some. But since my ornamentation is so much dependent upon the mood of a tune, I really have to force myself to experiment that way. Anyway, It's a great scale exercise for us. Tomorrow, so time specific, if you're watching this in the future, tomorrow will be whenever I introduce the Madame Bonaparte hornpipe. But tomorrow, as of right now, when I introduce the Madame Bonaparte hornpipe, you're going to see how where this scale exercise came from. You're going to be listening to it. You're going to be learning it. You may already know it. You're going to go, aha, that's part of that tune. So I hope this is helpful. Please like the video if it helps you. If you're brand new and just checking us out because, we do scale exercises and not enough people do scale exercises. A few do, and I appreciate that because scale exercises are important in our development as a musician. So jump into this one, take advantage of it, and grow your skills. So please subscribe and join our great community of folks learning to play the whistle together. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling.